A Night in Haven's Crossing, written by The Stranger. Oro Cervantes stumbled along with his friends. They had dragged him along on a late-night adventure in Cancun. He had been undergoing a major withdrawal since he hadn't been drinking for a few days. "Come on, brother, you're not looking right," Oro's friend said. Oro was an alcoholic. He had been since he was 17, given that the condition ran in his family. He drank the stuff like it was his medicine. "Yeah, brother, I'll follow you wherever you go," Oro said. His friends laughed with him as he joked with them. They walked through the gates of a place Oro did not recognize. A man wearing purple carnival clothing approached the group of friends. "Welcome to Haven's Crossing, where dreams come to life. Would you like a tour?" the man said. "No thanks, we've already been here," Oro's friend said. As the group walked past the man, they could see what made this place so special. Lining the sides of the path were rows of booths with different games you could play. This included classics such as ring toss, balloon pop, bobbing for apples, and much more. In the background were giant amusement park rides like the roller coasters or swing ride. Suddenly, a woman in a blue and pink tracksuit leaped from one booth across to the other. Before the group could react, an explosion of fireworks erupted above the roller coasters. Oro picked up the scent of popcorn coming from another path as they walked. He turned his head to another small booth disconnected from the others. It was a small vendor with a popcorn machine in the window advertising freshly popped kernels. Despite how enticing this was, something else caught Oro's eye even more. Next to the employee in the booth was a line of beer that could be purchased. He walked over to the vendor with excitement. "Can I have a beer, please?" Oro said. "Don't you think you've had enough already?" a voice said. Oro looked up in confusion. Standing on top of the booth was the same woman from before. Now that she was in full view, Oro could see that the girl had Day of the Dead inspired facial makeup along with short, dark brown hair. "What business is it of yours?" Oro said. "I'm just wondering. You seemed a little tipsy when you walked in here," she said. "Is everything okay up there, Sophia?" the vendor said. "Don't let this man buy anything. He won't use his money well," Sophia said. "What? Why? I have done nothing wrong," Oro said. Sophia jumped off the booth and landed back on the ground. She grabbed Oro's shoulder gently. "Come walk with me," she said in a calm demeanor. Oro reluctantly agreed as the two of them walked deeper into the amusement park. Oro and Sophia walked down past the Hall of Mirrors and eventually made it to the Ferris wheel. "Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm afraid of heights," Oro said. "Great, you can tell me all about it on the way up," Sophia said. Oro's heart beat fast as he took in the looming wheel above him. It was massive with yellow and red lights strung under each car. His hands shook as he grabbed hold of the railing with the wind already beginning to pick up. He felt cold as he took each step slowly up the stairs and into the car. As Sophia walked in, she ushered to the employee to get it moving. The ride started up, heading to the very top. It then continued moving for another loop, much to Oro's dismay. "You doing all right?" Sophia said. Oro gripped the center pole like it was life or death. I take it you're not," Sophia said. She slapped her hands on her knees and spoke again. I know something that will help," Sophia said. She stretched her arm to the ceiling and pushed the emergency stop button. The Ferris wheel halted as Oro looked around frantically. "Oh my fucking god," Oro said. "Calm down, this will help you tremendously, I promise," Sophia said. She proceeds to vault over the railing and drop down on the roof of the car below them. You can't do that," Oro said. "Well, maybe if you joined me, I wouldn't be in the spotlight," Sophia said. "What? I can't, I'll slip and fall," Oro said shakily. "I won't let that happen," Sophia said. Oro stood there for a moment until his leg began to move on its own. It vaulted over the railing, leaving Oro half in the car and half out of it. He then grabbed the other side of the railing and slowly climbed down to where Sophia was. His foot was losing traction from the gunk all over the top of the car. Where are we going?" Oro asked. "Over there," Sophia said. She pointed to the walkway alongside a nearby roller coaster. They jumped across and made their way up the stairs. "Do you feel any better?" Sophia said. "No," Oro said as he kept his eyes forward. He knew that if he looked down, it would end in him throwing up. "Watch it," Sophia said as she leaned back on the railing. Oro turned around and saw that the roller coaster car was about to pass them. Oro panicked and leaned against the railing as well as the car zoomed by them. "Fuck," Oro said. Sophia chuckled to herself as she watched Oro squirm. "Come on, I want to show you something," Sophia said. At a balcony farther down the walkway, Sophia pointed to something down below. Oro fearfully looked over the side to see a carnival being performed through the streets. The first half of the performers that Oro could see was a group comprised of 10 to 20 people, all dancing in multicolored dresses with beautiful blue feathers hanging over them. Next was a group that was all wearing different colorful costumes with masks that ranged in shape and size. They swayed their arms over their heads without a care in the world. A whole bunch of other people joined them from behind, donning the same kind of colorful attire. It was marvelous to witness. "When was the last time you saw the carnival?" Sophia said. "Not too long, though I haven't been as interested in it for a while now," Oro said. "And why is that?" Sophia said, continuing to watch the crowd. "I had an old friend who used to love it. We lost touch after some time," Oro said. "What was his name?" Sophia said. "His name was Manny," Oro said. "Well, maybe you should join them. It'd make your friend proud, I'm sure," Sophia said. "Is that why you brought me up here? To give me some speech on what I should and should not do?" Oro said. "No, I just thought you looked lost," Sophia said. Oro looked forward as he spoke. "Manny was always a good kid. When he left, I felt like a part of me went with him. Let's just say I didn't take it well," Oro said. "Well, maybe you and him can reconcile someday. I think I know where I want to take you next," Sophia said. Sophia continued to walk Oro through the park. "I should probably go. My friends are waiting for me," Oro said. "But I still have more things to show you," Sophia said. "I really should see them. They're probably wondering where I am," Oro said. "It's not like you're actually going to go see them. You're just trying to get another drink," Sophia said. Oro stopped in the middle of the path. "What business is that of yours?" Oro said, agitated. "Whoa, calm down there, Mr. Tantrum. I was only trying to help," Sophia said. "I don't need your help. I'm fine on my own," Oro said, beginning to walk away. Another explosion of fireworks rang above Oro's head. As he looked towards the balcony of a nearby structure, looking down at them was a mysterious figure wearing a white carnival jester costume. He stared at Oro motionless before turning around and retreating to the inside. Oro, out of curiosity, tried to follow the figure. He reached a closed-off gate with a lock and chain. "I can get that," Sophia said, pulling out a key. She opened the lock and threw it to the side. Oro stepped in first, making his way into the building and towards the unknown. Oro made his way up the stairs and to the second floor. Knelt down at the adjacent wall of the room was the jester, tending to his fireworks. He did not face Oro, instead focusing on fixing his supplies. "Hey man, how are you?" Oro said. The man did not speak. In fact, he didn't even seem like he heard anything at all. "Come on, Jester, he asked you a question," Sophia said. Jester got up and walked to a workbench nearby. It was dimly lit by a single light bulb that stuck out of the wall. "Fine. I'd say I'm doing okay," Jester said. "That's good. Are you the person Sophia wanted me to see?" Oro said. I can't do this right now. Get him out of here," Jester said abruptly. "What? But I just got here," Oro said. Get out, get out, get out," Jester said. Oro backed up and walked back down the stairs as Jester screamed at him. He exited the building and headed back to the gate. Sophia followed Oro as they made it back to the pathway. "Stay here, I'll talk to him," Sophia said, heading back inside. Oro was left by himself as other visitors walked by him. He then caught a glimpse of someone else in the crowd. It was a tall, burly man with a thick beard. He was shirtless as to show off his muscular physique while wielding a long hammer. As he walked by, Oro decided to approach the man. "Excuse me, sir, could you tell me what is going on with the man in that building?" Oro said, pointing to where he had just come from. The man looked at his finger and then to the gate. "That's Jester. He's in charge of fireworks shows and such." "The guy is very quiet, I'd say," the man said. "I think he knows me," Oro said. "If he knows you, then you're lucky. He doesn't talk to any of us around the park," the man said. "I want to talk to him, but it seems that he won't let me. Is there a way I can?" Oro said. "Well, there is the show in the Big Top later. Jester's supposed to perform in that," the man said. "Can you show me where it is?" Oro said. "Of course. I'll walk with you," the man said. The man, as Oro came to find out, was named Ezekiel. As they entered the Big Top, he took Oro into a small room in the back where only performers were allowed. He introduced me to a young woman who was in the middle of making an alebrije. She had a shaved head and was wearing a short green dress. "Noemi, I'd like you to meet my friend. He's looking for Jester," Ezekiel said. "Oh, how wonderful! A new worker to help me carve some wood," Noemi said. "I don't mind helping if you want," Oro said. "Oh no, you don't have to. I know you're busy with something," Noemi said as she grabbed for a beer. Oro stopped when he saw the cold drink in her hand. The withdrawal symptoms were getting worse. He started feeling a headache coming on along with an ever-increasing level of anxiety. "Can I have a sip of that?" Oro asked. "Knock yourself out," Noemi said. She handed the bottle to him as Oro's hand shook. He moved the opening of the drink towards his mouth. "Stop," Sophia said. Oro dropped the bottle in shock, shattering it all over the floor. "What the fuck?" Oro said. "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were in here," Sophia said. "Why do you care so much about my business? I don't even know you," Oro said, enraged. "And I don't know you. But that's not the point," Sophia said. "Then what is?" Oro blared. Sophia walked over and grabbed a piece of cloth hanging off of the rafters. She pulled it aside to reveal another entryway to a separate room. Inside was a row of chairs all forming a circle in the middle of the room. Sitting on a few of these chairs were Oro's friends, looking at him with concerned expressions. "What's going on?" Oro said. "What do you think is happening?" Oro's friend said. Oro walked forward cautiously. "This is my intervention, isn't it?" Oro asked. Oro's friends nodded. "They told me to bring you to someone," Sophia said. "To the Jester?" Oro said. Sophia nodded herself. "But why? Who is he?" Oro asked. "He wanted you to see him in person. It's better if you do," Sophia said. "Where is he?" Oro asked. "Outside. Just step through there," Sophia said as she pointed to another opening in the tent. Oro walked outside and saw him, the Jester. "I understand that I am having an intervention, but what do you have to do with it?" Oro asked. "Everything," Jester said. He turned to face Oro. "Why did you start drinking?" Jester asked. "It's genetic. My father had the same thing I do. He couldn't help it," Oro said. "You mean he was also an alcoholic?" Jester asked. "No, he wasn't. He had issues that was all," Oro said. "So you're denying that you yourself have problems?" Jester asked. "I don't have any problems. I'm perfectly fine," Oro said. "That's not what your friends told me," Jester said. "They don't know what they're talking about. I know what my problems are," Oro said. "Oro, It's okay. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I understand what you're going through, because I don't. I will tell you that I am going through something similar to you, Jester said. Oh, really? And what would that be? Oro asked. Jester rolled up his sleeves to reveal multiple dark circles going all the way down his arms. It looked as if his skin was spotted. Oro backed up in shock. What the hell? Oro said. I've had similar issues for a long time, though for your sake, I wouldn't call them that, Jester said. What happened to you? Oro asked. I became a heroin addict. It took me a long time to admit that to myself. I've just started recovering and I've been going through absolute hell, Jester said. So that's it then? Did my friends bring you here so you could come give me some bullshit speech about responsibility? Oro asked. No. I came to see an old friend, Jester said. He grabbed his mask with both hands and pulled it off. His face was soaked as sweat dripped down from his forehead. His eyes looked like he hadn't slept for days. Oro had expected to see the face of a stranger, however this was the face of a friend. Manny? Oro said. Hey Oro, it's been a very long time, Manny said. I didn't hear from you. I thought you would stop being my friend, Oro said. No, the truth is I was ashamed of who I had become. I didn't want you to see me like this, Manny said. You changed a lot, Oro said. No shit, Manny said. Oro cracked an uncanny smile at the remark. So why did you bring me here? Oro asked. I heard from my family that you needed help too. I had your friends take you to this place because I wanted to ask you something, Manny said. Shoot, Oro said. Would you be willing to support me in my recovery? That means you have to recover with me, Manny said. Oro fell silent. I want to, Manny, but I don't think I can. Can't you do it alone? Oro said. No. If you don't do it, I won't do it, Manny said. Why would you do that? You know what that'll do to you, Oro said in bewilderment. I won't let my brother suffer. If you can promise me that, then I promise I'll keep my word as well. Do it for me, please, Manny said. Oro thought and thought for what felt like hours. I'll try, Oro said. Later, Oro joined his friends in the circle. They talked for hours about their concerns with him as he listened. Some of the things he heard had never been thought about before. Manny sat with them as he relayed his own story to try to make Oro understand that he wasn't alone. Despite their progress, the both of them still had a long way to go for recovery. And despite all that they would go through, they still held their promise to each other. And to Manny, who left to begin his performance that night, it would be something he would be immensely grateful for. Hey everybody, it is The Stranger here. I also had a novel pitch for this story that I came up with that I am going to share with you guys right now. It is something that I do not have to do, but if you guys are interested in this story, I can also begin writing about this, so let me know what you think. Novel pitch. Years after the events of the story, Oro has become a performer alongside other characters at Haven's Crossing. One day, the technology used for special effects start to glitch and act strange. This also includes some of the rides and games. Oro and the others must uncover what is going on in order to keep the park from shutting down. Moreover, during their journey, they find out something crucial. No one actually knows who owns Haven's Crossing. Thank you guys so much. That was A Night in Haven's Crossing. Be sure to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.